should I negotiate my salary? Should I change jobs right now? Or should I just stay where I am, even though they're overworking me? It's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of confusion, but still frustrated underneath all of that. A lot of people experiencing burnout right now too, which is unfortunate. It's time to pivot in your confidence, career, and compensation with the 5-Minute Career Hack Podcast every Monday and Thursday. Now, get ready for a special interview I did recently with Amy Stewart of Payscale for their 2024 Job Market Series.
Jamila Brown, it is so wonderful to have you today. I would love for you to just share with the audience a little bit about you and a little bit about 5-Minute Career Hack.
Thanks, Amy, for having me. I'm Jamila Brown, born and raised in the greater New Orleans area and co-founder of the 5-Minute Career Hack. We have a podcast that streams on all platforms as well as YouTube that you can get a 5-minute career development activity every week, every Thursday, as well as we interview individuals from all industries, backgrounds, as well as entrepreneurs on our podcast every Monday. So that's 2 episodes every week to help you with your continued growth and development. How we started the 5-Minute Career Hack was all about the fact that myself and my co-founders were coaching for free, believe it or not, 3 to 4 hours, sometimes every day, but definitely maxing out our time on a weekly basis. And we just felt like there was more we could do for people if we packaged it differently to get it to a broader audience. So that's how the 5-Minute Career Hack came to be. And so we've been together now a few years. We've worked together and known each other for over 10 and excited to chat with you today.
Jamila, in this year's report for Payscale's end of year report, job coach or career coach made our top list of fastest growing jobs by wages. What is a job coach or what is a career coach, and why do you think that that job has made the list?
I think that job has made the list because there are a lot of people that are frustrated, frankly, not just specifically with their job, but in life in general. I think COVID allowed us to really take a moment, sit back and reflect on what we were doing in our lives. And that reflection turned into, I may not be as happy doing what I'm doing right now and in my family unit that I thought I was. And so that frustration, I believe, has spawned the multitude of life coaches, health coaches, all types of coaches for that matter in the industry. And I think it's an incredible field to be in. I like to consider myself a career strategist, right? I know I do coaching, but I like to consider myself a strategist because I want to help people figure out the strategy that's going to help them navigate this life that we now live in post-COVID and get what they really want to get out of it.
How would you describe the job market in 2023 and going into 2024? What is this feeling like for people as they are searching for new opportunities?
I would say uncertain. That's probably the best word that can sum it all up, and I'll dive into it a little bit. But I would say uncertainty is probably the big underscore, because ultimately employers are uncertain. The Fed is uncertain of what to do, when to do it, as far as when should we cut rates. I think we've raised them enough historically to a height that we've not been to as fast as we've been to ever. And ultimately, I think they're uncertain. That makes employers uncertain. And ultimately, that makes employees uncertain. And I think that's and nobody kind of knows what's going to happen next. And that leaves individuals that we're coaching consistently feeling like, what should I do? And they probably have all the answers, but because of that uncertainty, they're very unsure of what's next for them. Should I negotiate my salary? Should I change jobs right now? Or should I just stay where I am, even though they're overworking me? It's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of confusion, but still frustrated underneath all of that. A lot of people experiencing burnout right now too, which is unfortunate.
One of my key takeaways from working on this report and analyzing the job market is that technically, from a data perspective, the Great Resignation is over. But when I read social media posts and I'm taking in the feelings of people as they are job searching, I can't help but think that the Great Resignation in spirit is very much still alive, that people are looking to leave their current job for a better opportunity. Can you speak to what is making employees unhappy right now in their current positions? Like, what are the biggest pressures or frustrations that they're feeling?
Well, first and foremost, I think what they believe they signed up for and what they're currently doing and experiencing are totally opposite. They don't align. So I thought I was going to work at this employer to do this, and now I'm doing something totally different, or it doesn't align with what I initially thought. Two, I would say that maybe in that time they've been with that employer, what they really want has also changed. And I think that's leading to a lot of the frustration. I believe that a lot of people are overworked as well, right? I believe there's a lot of tension and stress around artificial intelligence and what impact that's going to have on their long-term career as well as their immediate career. And then being pushed to understand and assimilate to this new world that we live in at a pace that, frankly, I don't know if we were designed to actually consume and process the way we're currently consuming. And I think that, coupled with a lot of the external factors, because I don't really fully feel like I said post-COVID earlier. I don't know if we're post-COVID yet either. And I think there's that piece too.
So what is the job hunt experience like right now for folks that you are coaching? What are they relaying as their frustrations when they are running toward a better opportunity?
Well, what I will tell you, it was a free for all. And I've probably got clips out there of me telling people it's an employee market where, you can pretty much throw your ring in the hat, throw your name in the hat, and you're getting a job, you're getting interviews at a minimum. It was a free for all, in my opinion, and it was great. And that has slowed down considerably. And now it's more or less, I'm not getting callbacks, and I'm qualified. I'm applying to this many jobs, and I've not gotten a call, and it's been months. Or I did my first interview, second interview, and they put the position on hold. Right, hearing that too. So there's a lot happening from that employee perspective where they're just like, I don't understand what's happened. And we don't deal with change well as human beings. So when it goes from a free for all in the job market where it was clearly an employee market, and it kind of comes to a screeching halt. It feels like all of a sudden, like, I should be able to get this interview, get this job, and negotiate my salary because wages are up, salaries are up. I should be able to do this. I know there's a wage gap. I got to be aggressive. And all of a sudden, should I still be aggressive is now the question, right? That I'm hearing a lot because I need to make sure that I'm secure. We've gone from a place of, I got this to, I got to make sure I'm good. I'm secure in my position.
I think that goes back to what you said about the whole of the market feeling like an uncertain place right now. It sounds like job seekers are losing confidence, that they are starting to feel devalued by the job hunt experience because things have slowed down so much from their highs in the height of the pandemic when everyone was trying to hire and they were lowering their, I want to say standards, but kind of lowering their standards.
Fill these positions to get back in business.
Yes, in order to get the workers working so they could get their productivity up. And now that has cooled down, but there's still all of these job openings supposedly, according to the data.
Allegedly,
yes, allegedly there are all these job openings, but people just don't seem to be getting hired. Can you speak to why job openings are so high, but hires are so low when we are theoretically in a labor shortage?
And so I think from the employee side, I think there's some onus that the employee has to own. And this is what we've been coaching on. If you're just applying for jobs and you're not putting in the proper effort and your due diligence to customize your resume or to customize your cover letter, or even that first interview, that you're prepared for, to know what they're looking for and make sure your communication and your interview answers matches that job description and what you know is a stellar candidate. If you're not doing that work on the front side, you're just throwing applications out there where an employer can now be more selective. The downsizing and the layoffs, I don't know if we're past all of that, but a lot of that happened in 2022. And now I'm going to be more selective as an employer. Even though I have these openings, I'm going to be more selective. So I'm looking for that candidate that's going to basically put their best foot forward and customize their application for me.
I think that's really astute. What I'm seeing in the data is that technically, because we are still in a labor shortage, the percentage of people who have returned to the workforce past COVID is not at the same level that it was pre-COVID. And because birth rates are down and people are opting out of the job market entirely to run their own businesses or find other streams of income, we are lacking labor overall in the market. So you would think that that would create an employees market where people could have a free for all in continuum like they had during COVID. But that doesn't seem to be the way that it feels. And I think that that must be because so many people are trying to leave their jobs at the same time that employers are just being inundated with applications and resumes, which then makes it feel like more of an employer's market because they have that selection, like you mentioned, and they really want to hone in on the right candidates and to stem turnover as much as possible by making sure they get the right person for the job that they have open. Do you have any
Yeah.
commentary to add to that?
Absolutely. It's a function of supply and demand, right? Whether or not we go into a recession is going to be a function of supply and demand. And what you just described is absolutely a function of supply and demand. If I'm looking to fill 10 roles, but I've got 1,000 applicants, I can be more selective. And that ultimately means the employee has to be very good about making sure the applications they are going to spend time putting in, the resumes, the cover letters, are customized and tailored to that job. And I believe the employer also understanding that there's some uncertainty in the future that still looms based upon what the Fed may or may not do and any unknown thing that could happen as well. They've got to actually do some risk management, because what they can't do is have a repeat of the amount of layoffs that they had previously because they scaled up too quickly or invested too heavily in the business, and then we hit a recession. It could cripple some businesses. So they do have to have a really, really cautious approach as well. So I think the combination of those handful of things have really made it seem like, well, you say you need people, right? But I'm applying and you're not really hiring, and you're not filling the positions as fast as you were filling those positions. It's taking even longer. I think those are the things that are impacting that job hunt experience right now.
What advice do you have to job seekers in this market right now?
I think the first thing you have to do is stay engaged where you are, because you haven't left yet, right? And you don't want to find, if provided that person is still on the job, stay engaged where you are because you haven't left yet. You don't have the strategy, you don't have the plan fully flushed out yet. So that's number one. Number two, because you don't want to create a problem where there isn't a problem. Mm-hmm. And so that will then make the job hunt extremely hard. And that's sometimes when we receive clients, that's how they come to us. It's when hard at that point. I'm either about to get terminated, I'm about to get fired, or I'm being laid off. And at that point, now you're under stress. And we like to coach, obviously, not from a place of stress. I think the second thing that employees need to do is understand what they really want. If they've got boundaries that they haven't set on their current job and issues with the workload, and they haven't done what they need to do there, they're going to take those same issues to the next job. So let's be very clear about what I'm looking for as to why I'm leaving. And is it something that I need to work on, or is it truly an issue with that employer? And if it is that with that employer, now let's move to the job hunt process. What do I really want? And how much research am I willing to do with these new people that I'm looking to apply for, so that I can understand that I'm not leaving one disaster to jump into another one that could even be worse. And that's oftentimes what I see. And when people will tell us, I went from here to here, I went from job A to job B, and I'm in the same boat. Well, you're the common denominator. I know it's tough, but you're the common denominator. So let's figure all that out. Let's unpack that so that you don't keep repeating the same behavior.
Do you have any advice for recruiters or for hiring managers who are on the other side of that equation?
I think one of the things recruiters, and I've worked with so many in my career, the best of the best recruiters that I was partnered with that helped me hire thousands of people in my career, the best of the best were incredible at staying in the referral space, right? So I think doing having a strategic process for every candidate that you get on the phone with, to be able to understand who they know at the same time. Those are going to be the best and most qualified leads, and you're going to get things from those leads that you're not going to get from the resume or the cover letter. 9 times out of 10, that's going to be someone that's going to actually probably get that recruiter promoted.
Do you have any comments on the top list other than Job Coach from Payscale's end of year hot jobs list?
Yeah. So, number one being the customer service role, the assistant manager customer service role. I've spent a ton of my career in that space in retail. And I know, just understanding the report a little bit, it could be also some of that remote call center work that's in that bucket. And I will tell you, artificial intelligence, as much as I love it, I enjoy it, it has turned into a lot of chatting. It's turned into a lot of bots. And so by the time individuals get to a representative, an actual live person, everybody's mad. Everybody's on 10, as I like to say. And it's very difficult to manage. So you've got, as a manager over customer service, you've got individuals that may or may not be as qualified to do their job that you're now leading. And so by the time they've asked for that supervisor, because I'm that person, right? I'm trying to get to the supervisor as quickly as possible. There's going to be a ton of frustration there. So I know there's a ton of turnover in that space, trying to find the person that can now be great at customer service, but not face to face. That's a different skill set. I've done a ton of face to face customer service, and maybe 10% over the phone or not being face to face. That's a different skill set. And I don't know if employers are understanding that that's a different skill set as well. To be able to communicate, tonality becomes huge, and pace in the conversation and timing as well. I don't know if everybody fully understands that job, and I think that's why we're seeing some of the turnover there.
I think that's a really astute observation about employers not necessarily compensating appropriately for those unique special skills that are in this job list for fastest growing wages. So it might be, hey, we are experiencing a lot of turnover in this position. Why is that happening? And it might be because those employers are not paying those positions highly enough for those unique skills that are needing to be had by those workers, and identifying even what those skills are when they are going through their own hiring processes and retention processes for those people. Do you think that pay is a big reason why there are frustrations in the current job market?
I don't know if it ever ends. I don't know if it ever ends. When I think about what certain things cost now comparatively, whether that's just your basic toiletries, household goods, housing, cars, gas has come down a little bit, oil has come down a little bit, but those costs are real. We've also had individuals go back to paying student loans back. So that's in cringing upon discretionary income as well. So everything that I was able to do, I'm not able to do with the same amount of money that I was making a year ago. That's a real thing. So it's always going to be underneath the surface that I need more money because I can't do the same things that I was doing before. And the stimulus that was provided as well, you can see it now. Some of the retailers have reported that spending would be down in Q4 year over year as a result of it. So that lets you know that people are already in a position where I'm actually having to monitor my money a little bit closer. So if I'm monitoring my money a little bit closer, that translates to I need more money. And so I'm going to be frustrated, especially if they're doubling down on me at work and I'm doing multiple jobs or doing more. I have more responsibility than I had when I started. I want more money.
Yes, because inflation was extraordinarily high for the past couple of years, which has raised prices for everybody. And even though inflation is down, that doesn't mean that we've experienced deflation. So the prices are still high. And there are some economists that are saying we might experience deflation in the next few months or year here, but don't know if that's the case. One exciting factor, which is in our report, is that it looks like pay increases are going to exceed inflation. And so that is a very positive story for workers who are still employed and are can potentially anticipate higher pay increases with lower inflation in 2024, which can help alleviate some of that burden. It could help the job market if people get adequate pay increases to offset inflation. That could alleviate some of the pressure that employees are feeling to search for a new opportunity because they can't afford their life right now. That could help the overall job market for those who are currently seeking.
Absolutely. I think that's such a great thing. I think most are going to be excited about that. As long as everything to me seems to continue to go the way it's going, and the Fed does begin to cut rates next year, I think we will see what you're talking about, and we're all hopeful.
It's an election year, so there's a lot of incentive, I think, to keep the economy strong in an election year, but we don't know until it happens.
Until it happens, right?
We don't know. Jamila, do you have any closing thoughts or anything that you would like to share with everyone as we wrap up here?
Yeah, I think the big thing I would share is that all is not lost. We are great as human beings, and I believe that we can absolutely have everything that we desire and that we want if we're willing to put in a little bit of work and effort towards that. And don't allow that frustration to overcome you to make poor choices in the moment of those emotions. That's oftentimes what I'm having to assist and help strategize to undo. So help make it easier on the other job coaches out there, and be strategic and a little bit ahead of the game. That would be my advice to everyone.
I truly hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed doing it for you. However, it doesn't have to end there. Come on over to our Facebook group community right now for free. You're going to get exclusive content that we weren't able to include in this episode as well as past episodes. We've got challenges, we've got research, we've got lives, you name it, all for you in bite-sized chunks so that you can continue this development journey. Go ahead, click the link right now in the description show notes, and we'll see you there.